What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Magic Game World. The idea of World War III, it's this chilling what-if scenario that's hung over our heads for decades, right? But let's be honest, looking at the world today, that nightmare scenario feels closer and more real than ever before. And maybe that's why gaming has never been shy about diving headfirst into that chaos. Some games go for gritty realism, dropping you right into a Cold War that just boiled over, while others are all about that bombastic, over-the-top modern warfare action. So, today we're diving into 11 of the best World War III themed games out there, both ones you can play right now and some heavy hitters on the horizon. We've got hardcore strategy, tactical shooters, and even a game where you fight the war in the shadows before it even starts. Whether you're an armchair general who loves pushing tanks on a map, or you just want to grab a rifle and jump into the fight, trust me, there's something on this list for you. Kicking things off, we've got a tactical beast, Warno, which came out in 2024. If you've ever played wargame Red Dragon or Steel Division, you'll feel right at home. This is basically Eugen Systems taking their iconic Cold War strategy to the next level. You're thrown into the Ful de Guerre, commanding NATO and Warsaw Pact forces in what was considered the most likely flashpoint for a real-world conflict. This is the classic Cold War gone hot scenario, brought to life with insane tactical detail. Warno is all about mastering combined arms, tanks, infantry, artillery, choppers, and jets. Every single move matters. A single misplaced tank platoon will get absolutely shredded by infantry hiding in a tree line, and controlling the skies can completely change the outcome of a battle. It's dense, it's brutal, but man, if you crave that authentic 80s World War III simulation, Warno is your jam. Alright, let's look ahead to something on the horizon. Steel Aces, slated for Q3 2025. This is a free-to-play MMO tank game, but hold on, it's not another arcade shooter. The devs are going all in on realism, with a heavy focus on accurate armor, line-of-sight mechanics, and advanced ballistics. What makes it a cool World War III entry is that while it covers everything from World War I to the Cold War, it's the near-future stuff that gives it that awesome what-if vibe. And here's the kicker, it's pure tank-on-tank warfare. No getting dive-bombed out of nowhere, no artillery spam from across the map, just raw, tactical tank combat. If you've ever wanted a game where angling your armor actually matters, keep Steel Aces on your radar for 2025. Next up is an absolute powerhouse in the RTS space, Broken Arrow, which launched in June 2025. Imagine you took World in Conflict and smashed it together with Wargame. It's a modern US versus Russia throwdown with all the World War III flavor you could ask for, and a crazy roster of over 200 units across land, air, and sea. But this is where Broken Arrow really shines. The customization. You're not just picking a faction, you are building your entire army from the ground up in a deck-building system. Want to specialize in stealth helos and paratroopers? Go for it. Prefer a massive armored fist backed up by naval bombardments? You can do that too. And it's not just multiplayer. There's a full single-player campaign that tells a gripping World War III story, with escalating battles that make you feel like the world is truly on the brink. For any RTS fan, this is easily one of the most detailed World War III experiences you can get your hands on. Alright, let's dial up the nostalgia with this next one, Tempest Rising. It hit early access in April 2025, and while it isn't a straight-up military sim, it absolutely nails the feel of a classic global modern conflict. It's not trying to be hyper-realistic like Warno or Broken Arrow, but it leans hard into that near-future World War III atmosphere, with factions that feel like modern military superpowers. Sometimes you don't need gritty realism, you just want that old-school RTS adrenaline rush, and Tempest Rising delivers that in spades. Now for a shooter that's aiming for something massive, 83. This one's still in development, but it's one of the most ambitious World War III shooters on the horizon. It's set in an alternate history where the Cold War finally goes hot, and it's a huge multiplayer FPS built for 80-plus player battles. Think Battlefield on steroids, but with a hardcore focus on Cold War authenticity. Every battle feels like a huge, chaotic piece of a much larger war. Objectives shift on the fly, front lines are constantly changing, and you're not just a lone wolf, you're a small part of a massive war machine. If you've been waiting for a big team World War III shooter that truly captures the sheer scale of the conflict, 83 is definitely the one to watch. Okay, let's get to the big one, the announcement that has the entire FPS community hyped. The next Battlefield is official, and it's coming. Mark your calendars for October 10th, 2025, because DICE is taking us straight into a modern-day World War III scenario. After 2042's more futuristic take, it looks like they're going back to their roots with a gritty, large-scale global conflict. And you know what that means? We're getting the full Battlefield experience back. We're talking next-level destruction with buildings crumbling around you, massive tank battles shaking the ground, and helicopters ruling the skies. This isn't just a rumor anymore, it's happening. The king of large-scale warfare is officially returning to the World War III setting, and it could be the biggest shooter release of 2025. Now let's pivot to something completely different, Espiocracy. This is a grand strategy game set during the Cold War, but instead of commanding armies, you're the puppet master behind the scenes, running an entire intelligence agency. The whole idea is that wars are won and lost in the shadows long before the first shot is fired. You'll be managing propaganda campaigns, staging coups, infiltrating enemy governments, and carrying out sabotage. It's less about rolling tanks across Europe and more about pulling the strings to either prevent or deliberately spark World War III. For anyone who loves games like Hearts of Iron but wants to dive deep into the world of espionage and shadow wars, Espiocracy is looking incredibly cool and is targeting a 2025 release. This next one is a cool little indie FPS that flew under the radar for a lot of people, World War Next, which released in early 2024. Look, it's not the most polished AAA game on the list, but it has a really unique low-poly art style and a great focus on modern-day hotspots, with maps set in places like Donbass, Taiwan, and Odessa. It's got vehicle combat to keep things chaotic, and it's one of those games that's constantly evolving. If you're looking for a more experimental shooter with a clear World War III setting, this one's worth checking out. Of course, we can't make this list without talking about World War III. Originally launched back in 2022, this game has been through a ton of changes and reworks. It's trying to be a more tactical and grounded version of Battlefield, with awesome maps based on real-world cities like Moscow, Berlin, and Warsaw. Now, this game has had a rocky history, we all know it, from bugs to server issues, but at its core, it's still one of the best attempts at a grounded, modern Battlefield-style shooter. If you just want to grab a rifle and fight in a near-future war across iconic European cities, World War III definitely scratches that itch. This one's a bit of a two-for-one, Arma Reforger and the eventual release of Arma 4. Arma has always been the king of ultra-realistic milsims, and Arma Reforger is a taste of their new engine set on a fictional Cold War-era island. What makes it perfect World War III material is that Arma is a sandbox. With mods, any scenario can become a full-blown Cold War gone-hot campaign. And let's be real, when Arma 4 finally arrives, you know the community is going to create the most insane, massive, and brutally realistic World War III scenarios imaginable. And finally, we've got Regiments, which came out in 2022. This is another tactical RTS set in an alternate 1980s where the Cold War erupts. Think of it as a more streamlined, faster-paced alternative to something like Warno, but with a great story-driven focus. You play through dynamic campaigns where missions branch and evolve, and you really get that tense feeling of pushing mechanized columns through Central Europe as the world is about to end. It's the perfect pick if you want that tactical World War III fix without needing a PhD in military strategy. And there you have it, guys, 11 games that tackle the World War III theme from every possible angle. Some go for the deep, authentic simulation, while others just want you to feel the chaos of a massive FPS firefight. So, if you want that deep, authentic simulation, you've got beasts like Warno and Broken Arrow. If you want big battles and shooter mayhem, get ready for the return of Battlefield, keep your eyes on 83, or jump into World War III.
And for my fellow grand strategy nerds who love the tension before the war even starts, Espiocracy is one to watch. So I gotta ask, which of these games gets you the most hyped? Drop a comment below and let me know what you'd play first.